I wanted to do a quick review on this pen, which is made by Spencerian. It's pen number 49, and it's called Service. I'd be interested to learn more about this pen. I don't know why it's called Service, or if there's any significance at all to that. But this is more than a full box. There's actually 24 nibs in there. Well, minus one. I really like this nib a lot. There's some interesting features about it. One is the profile of the nib. Not a profile we've never seen before, but an interesting one nonetheless. It's got kind of a fancy ink window here, or reservoir, whatever we call them. There we go. And it's got some interesting stamping there. A bunch of stars. The one in the center has a 0 or a hole in it or whatever. These are fairly old nibs. You can tell by the grind here on the end. It is actually ground on a grinder and isn't stamped. Another interesting thing about the nib is the grinding does not appear to go all the way down. It appears to be in this area right here and not there to the tip. I wonder if that's true on all of them. Let's take a quick look here. Yeah, this one's not been used, and so it can be seen a little better. You can see there the grinding. So interesting. To the writing of this, it's a sharp pointed nib, as you can obviously see. I'll call it a fine, I think. Not quite as fine as the Esterbrook 555 Accountant, but it is a fine nib anyway. Not a good full dip there, as you can see. Just a boy, this thing's having a hard time focusing today. Just a light dip. Won't be doing a ton of writing. Today's ink is Schaefer Script Blue Black. So this is the Spencerian Service. That doesn't look very good, does it? But there you go. Spencerian Service. So you'll notice the pen is fairly fine in that. Let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit. Fairly fine line. The pen also has a fairly significant amount of flex. I have to get a new dip there to do that. It flexes easily without a lot of pressure at all. Doesn't cut into the paper as it flexes. I really like that. The pen does not catch too badly in this direction so long as you're light-handed. There you can see it's, as I bear down on it, it will catch, but in the other three directions the pen works nicely. This ink is bleeding badly on this paper, as you can see right here. Of course that was pretty thick and cut into the page. So all considered, I really do like this pen, especially just for casual writing. You can see here it flexes easily enough that even just making these fun little lines, that you get some line variation just from the natural weight of the hand and the draw stroke versus the pushing or side to side. So it adds some character to the text. If we compare this with another nib of similar width, the Falcon 48 by Esterbrook. There we are. To typical Falcon design. You'll see that it also, let's get some paper here, it also has a fine line. It also can flex, but it requires more pressure to flex it. It's a sharper nib, and on the upstroke catches easier. The side strokes and the downstroke are fine. It is a scratchier nib, and you don't get nearly the same. You do get line variation, but it's not the same as with the Spencerian. So it's just a little flexier pen. It creates more character in the writing, I think, than the Falcon 48. So I don't use a lot of these pointed nibs, a fine nib pen or whatever you want to call them. Don't use a lot of those, but I do enjoy them, especially this one. This here is the Spencerian nib here, and the Falcon. You can see the fine is finer, the thick is probably about the same. Nice nib. That ink is probably not the best choice for that pen though.